Hi guys, my name is Aaron, and how many of you guys drive? Drivers, raise your hands. Okay, so this is a relatable topic for you guys. I know my roommate does, he always asks me for rides. But anyway, the topic is elderly driving and the regulations imposed to those with certain conditions. And my proposition is placing stricter regulations on elderly drivers will decrease the number of accidents every year. And although teenagers are notorious for having records of accidents, actually the crash rate of elderly drivers per driven mile is twice as high the rate of middle-aged drivers, according to Catherine Michael, a professor at Marquette University of Law. And my supporting claims, which I'm going to be discussing, is two, aging inevitably decreases driver skills, and states that have proposed laws for regulations on elderly drivers have seen results and improvements on car accidents. As you guys know, as you age, there are diseases that may affect your vision, and according to Gary Hiding, a writer for the company All About Vision, as individuals get older, the quality of their eyes begin to worsen, causing drivers to have a more difficult time driving. These diseases include reduced pupil size, dry eyes, reduced peripheral vision, reduced color vision, and also vitreous detachment, which is also known as floaters. There's also cataracts that develop that are highly common in people who are in their 70s and 80s. And cataracts is a clouding of the lens, which is the most common cause for blindness. And also, as individuals age, the loss of brain connection causes slower reaction time. So, as you guys know, there's two sides of your brain, and the way the brain functions is those two sides need to communicate together for you to react to certain situations. And as you age, those connections worsen. And according to the online medical encyclopedia, as those two parts lose cells as you age, reaction time to even catching a ball or seeing an incoming car worsens. And according to Insurance Institute of Highway Safety, in 2012, 74% of people killed in crashes involving a 70-year-old or older has either led to the older driver themselves getting hurt, 59% of the time, or their older passenger, 15% of the time. And so, as the older you get, the more vulnerable you are to being hurt in an accident because of your physical strength and the reduction of your the ability to react faster to whatever situation you're placed in. And to my second point, states that have placed regulations on elderly driving, regulations including renewal of your driver's license in a certain period of time, and also medical checkups before you get your license renewed. And the shorter cycle of they impose to elderly drivers as they renew their license, it allows for the states to keep in contact with those elderly folks who may have seen or may have encountered diseases or eye problems that may have caused them to their driving ability to worsen. And so, for example, in the state of Florida, drivers 80 years older and over were tested had vision tests, and 7% of them had to were rejected for renewal of their licenses because of their failure of the test. And also, those vision tests were effective in that they lowered the accident rate in the state of Florida. One study showed that states with laws requiring an in-person driver's license renewal had 17% lower fatality rate per licensed driver among the oldest drivers compared to those states without laws. And so there are controversies saying that teenagers cause more accidents than elderly folks, and it's true because there are more teenage drivers compared to elderly folks. But if you look at the percentage and the rates, it's actually that the elderly drivers, in the statistics of the elderly drivers, their rate of accidents is twice as high as teenagers. And I'm pretty sure you guys have grandparents or other close relatives who are old and drive. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't drive, but I'm proposing that states that regulate those elderly drivers will see an improvement of accidents, not that there would be more accidents, but less accidents, and that this proposition of carefully regulating who they decide is eligible to drive will benefit them in the long run. Thank you.
All right, Aaron, you do clearly state the proposition. I think the audience survey is a little bit complicated. You'd probably be better off with an example here at the beginning, or even that statistic that you have at the beginning and using that as your attention device. That'll get to the point a little bit quicker. You label your secondary points, so it's going to be relatively easy to follow. There are only 2 of them, which is fine as long as they work together in building your point. And on the first point, you do a pretty good job indicating a whole list of maladies that people, as they suffer from as they get older, especially on the vision issues. The one thing that I didn't really hear much of on this particular point was any statistical information that shows the frequency with which that occurs as people age. The fact that people get these particular maladies, do they continue, for instance, to drive with those maladies? That's one of the things that we need to have. You've got data later on about the frequency of elderly people being involved in accidents. One of the things that needs to be connected to this is that a result of, for instance, the maladies that you're talking about? They didn't see the car, they had vision problems, they were driving at night, whatever those issues were. If you could kind of sync those issues up a little bit more, I think that argument would be stronger. The second point, I think, needed to be a little bit more clearly labeled in the body of the speech. It was signposted okay in the preview, but when you got to it, you just kind of rushed through it. I was having trouble because I didn't hear a lot of data at first, and then I think you came through. You had a good piece of information from Florida about the law that they have put in place. There's a follow-up study that has some statistical information in it. It needs a source citation, and that's one of the things that I see in the speech. You've got a lot of information here, but I'm not always hearing a source citation for that information. And I assume, for instance, on both the Florida example and the study that was the follow-up there, that you've got research on this. You just need to make sure that you cite it appropriately in the speech. You did a nice job speaking to the audience and trying not to be too disrespectful of elderly people. Thank you.